Hi, Tim Unkert here, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to make a Python script that will minify your CSS. So, if you don't know what minified CSS is, well, CSS is the styling, first off, but minified CSS is the styling, but it's all packed together. And the reason they do that is it saves storage space and it loads quicker. Okay, so it's important when you have like a big website that gets a lot of traffic that it loads quickly. And one of the ways you can do that is you can minify your CSS, you can minify your JavaScript, and get it to load quicker. Now, there are a lot of things out there, various plugins, so on and so forth, probably even websites that can help you minify your CSS. But I thought it would be a good exercise to learn how to create a simple script. It's going to be 7 lines long where we can actually do the same thing. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is change into my Python programs directory. Actually, I'm going to make it first. And now I'm going to change into my Python programs directory. Okay, and I'm going to create some files. So I'm going to create a minify.py file, a normal.css file, and a minified.css file. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my minify.py file. All right, and so now I've got my normal CSS and my minified CSS, and all I really need to do is a few lines here to do what I need to do. So I'm going to go file 1, open, and we're going to have our normal CSS, okay, and we're going to read this file, okay, and then we're going to create a list called file line list. You can call it what you want, but I'll then give the command file1 dot read lines, okay, and then we're going to close it. So file1 dot close. Okay, so we've set this variable file line list now has read all the lines and put them in strings as in a list in this file line list from those 3 commands. Now we're going to have file2. Whoops, and I made a mistake up here. I should have this be equals open. Okay, so file2 is going to equal to open, and we're going to have minified CSS, and we're going to append something to that file. So that's what the A is for. And then I'm going to create a variable, and I'm going to say x equals, and then I'll just do a little space here, dot join. So between each CSS line, you are going to have a little space with this program. You could probably omit that, but I just did it to just kind of show you how this is working, and it does minify the CSS somewhat, okay? And then I'm going to say line.strip, okay? Then I'm looking at my notes for line in file line list. Okay, so it's going to strip everything and leave a little space and then join it together. Okay, and then I'm going to take file2, and so now it's just a string kind of together, and I'm going to write x into it. Okay, and then finally I'm going to close file2, and I'm going to save this file. And I want to now go out of Vim for a minute and go into my normal.css file. And actually, before I do that, let's do a touch test.html, and let's Vim into test.html. And let's create doc type that's HTML, and go back here and just go here and uppercase that. Okay, and then we have my HTML tag. Okay, closing HTML tag. Okay, And we're going to make this simple, really simple. We have a head tag here, and we have to have like a metacar set equals UTF 8, and then we also want to have a meta viewport equals width equals device dash width initial scale equals 1.0. Okay, and I'll go down here. Let's create a title, and we'll say this is test web page. Okay, and then close out the title. And then under here, we want a link relation, which is a style sheet. And the link is going to be, it's going to be in the same folder. So we're first going to do just normal.css. And then, okay, we'll close out the head, and then we'll start with the body, and we'll have, let's say, an H1 tag saying test web page. Close out the H1 tag. And then we'll have a paragraph tag and say, this is a paragraph. Look at me writing stuff. Okay. And maybe we have a div here with just some letters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know why we would do that, but okay, whatever. All right, so we've got our, let me write this down. We've got an H1, a paragraph, and a div in the body. So we got some things we can style. Okay, so let's quit out of here and let's go into our normal.css file. Okay, now let's define some styles. Let's say for the body that we want to have a background color of red and a regular color of brown. You know, this is going to be a beautiful site. And then for our H1 tag, we want to have the font size. Let's do it 45 pixels. The letter spacing. Let's do it 2 rem. That's going to be huge. And let's do a color of pink. Okay, and for my paragraph, let's make the color for that blue and the background color for that yellow. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, and then we'll have a div, and we'll say that the background color of a div is gray, and the regular color is black. Okay. Interesting. All right. So now what I'm going to do is open up this folder, and let's view this in the browser. So look at that. It's a web page of beauty. But, you know, seeing as a lot of people are going to visit this web page, I mean, you know they are, right? It's so beautiful that we want to minify the little amount of CSS that we wrote. Now, honestly, like in reality, you would never do this, but this is an example. Okay, and this amount of CSS you wouldn't have to ever minify. At work, though, I minify CSS, and you know we have like 10,000 lines of CSS. Then it matters. Okay, but here, this is just showing you a script that will minify it, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we've got our normal CSS written. I'm going to quit out of there. Okay, now I'm going to run this program Python 3 minify.py. Okay, and it ran real quick. So now we're going to go into minified.css. Okay, and you'll see that it's now minified. It's all on one line. There's just one line of code. I took that, let's see, we go back into normal.css. You see with the spacing, we had 19 lines of code. We made that into one long line of code. If we quit out of here and we do LSAL, yeah, we can't really see a difference in size, but trust me, it will make a difference when you're doing something huge like thousands of lines of CSS code and minifying it that way. It really does make a difference, okay, in the file size. All right, now we want to go back into our test.html, and we'll see if now we're going to put in the minified CSS, and we'll do a hard refresh on the page. So we'll bring this up and do a hard refresh, which is Control-Shift-R, and you'll see that we have the exact same output. And we can even view the page source and click here, and we see that this is our minified CSS versus what our normal CSS was, which was written out 19 lines. This is just one long line compacted together. Okay, so that's how 7 lines you can write a simple Python program to minify your CSS. Now, if you wanted to make it a little bit more advanced, and maybe I'll let you guys work on that. If I went into minify.py here, what you could do is you could have the user take in the file that wants to be minified and specify the output file that they want their minified code to go into. You could do that. So it's kind of cool. This is, you make your own minification Python plugin, if you will. A little bit of code that you can run right in the terminal to minify your CSS. We've got 7 lines of code. 7 lines of code. I've got a relative line here. So yeah. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, as it really helps the channel grow if you haven't done so already. And if you have done so already, I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.